Peace, queens and kings, if you stopping by. Welcome to my channel. This is your sis, Kathy Vet, coming to you with another review and recap of the finale of our Sistas. Yes. This was, I think, Too Little Too Late, episode 22. That was the finale of Tyler Perry's Sisters, and it was really good. A little intense to say the least, but I'm happy to say Fatima girl did not have a baby. It was a joke. But before we get in, family, please subscribe, hit that notification bell so you do not miss out on future content, because tonight we're about to get into Fatima. So we're going to be hitting on that. And definitely, I'm super duper excited. I don't know if I'm going to do a review on Power, but I'm so happy to know that Power Book 2, Ghost, is back. But now it changed from Sunday to Friday night. So I'm still contemplating if I'll talk about that. But I'm excited that that is finally back. Waited long enough. So let's hop in here. Please share with your friends, family, co-workers, whatever. We can get in here, kiki, talk, from a little older perspective. If you millennials are in here, welcome to. We can get, we are, women of a certain age, men of a certain age may have another perspective than you would have on the episode. But hey, we are in here to learn, because we are all young at heart. Gen X is not your enemy. We your friend. They can give you a little wisdom. So let's get into it. Now, as we started, we left off. Zach was like in shock, because he's like, who is this man and who is this baby? So Fatima was rolling with it. He questioned her. She was like, yeah, she admitted, I have a 9-year-old, and I didn't like the little bastard. She was referring to the child. And she was like, oh my God, he came to the house. Well, let me call. He was like, no. I can't believe this. Like, you left your child. What is his name? And she was like, John Jr. He was like, a junior? You had a junior, you left him? She was like, I didn't like that little bastard. And he like, she was a bastard because you left him. So she was trying to hold in her smile. And I'm like, when I saw the little smirk on her face, I was like, sis, you joking. You just messing with him. You set this all up, this guy coming to the house. Because remember last week I said, how does this man know? Angela, you up to something, you running your mouth or whatever. Did this man contact you because he know you and Fatima friends? How did he know where Zach lived with him? I could see him going to her old place, but he came to her and Zach's house. How did he know that? So that was just a clue right there. And we know that Fatima wasn't the type. So we find out that, it was a joke. She was laughing and it was crazy. She said, but now you know how I feel about the situation. I think that was good, because her playing that off like that, so real and raw, and he knows how cold Fatima could get. First he was like, oh, I know it's a joke, you trying to get me. And then she was like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And so he knows that look on her face is like, oh no, my girl is crazy. She may very well have had a child and did this, but who is she? If she did do this, I really don't know her after all. So he was very relieved that it was a joke. And he said, yeah, you better not have no man running up, made some comment about her having, a man coming to tell her that she have a child. But she was like, excuse me? And he was like, I get it. So it's good when you can really get that example in your face and turn the tables, to know that, this wasn't a good feeling. And I have to deal with this. It's not something to take lightly. So if I'm upset and I'm really trying to work with you on this, he needs to be happy he has a woman that's that understanding. And twice. Someone from your recent and someone from 4 years in your past. That's a lot to deal with that many women would not have. So got a good one, Zach. So she was like, I'm hungry, come feed me. He was like, anything. He's just so glad that that wasn't her baby daddy. So now we have Aaron fighting outside. Now this is not a joke. This is not Aaron setting up no skit or whatever to teach Karen any lesson. So we can forget that. This is real and living color. But the thing is, Aaron, who is this woman? He was yelling. He was heated. You know, I think her name is Jessica or Jennifer, and she calling him John. And, you know, Karen looking at Pam like, why is she calling him by another name? And then she's like, Karen, yeah, you know, what he's going to do to you. You know, he's going to lie to you the same way and make you feel special. And she was just so livid and irate with him. I don't know where she's come from. I don't know who this woman is, but once he yelled at her, she punched him dead in his face. And he told Karen, apologize for her. Now, you know our girl Pam, she got that license plate. And she gonna call her friend down at the police station and find out who this chick is. Go all on her social media and all that. I'm like, we all need a friend like Pam, right? Because definitely that's why you keep her around. Because you know she's all about them streets. And whenever you want the 411 or something, we can always depend on our girl Pam, right? So, yeah. And, you know, Aaron is basically saying, I'll explain everything. I gotta go and file a police report. She's a stalker. Put in the comments, what, do y'all believe that? Do y'all believe that? I don't know what's going on. I don't, if she's a stalker, number one, why did you give her a fake name? You had to meet her somewhere and gave her a different name other than yours. Like I said, maybe your name is John Aaron, Aaron John, I don't know. But fact of the matter is, this is real crazy. I mean, there's crazy women out there. You may be telling the truth, but the thing is now, Karen doesn't need this kind of madness in her life. She handled it a lot better than most of us would have. But at the same time, I appreciate her respecting her unborn child and really, I guess, trying to stay calm and sane because she's not used to nothing going right with her relationships anyway. She was waiting for something to mess up with Aaron. And now she probably in the back of her mind feels that here it is. Here it is. But she has to stay calm and relaxed, and hopefully she'll continue to do that and get down to the bottom of what's going on later, right? So that's yet to be known. Now, Calvin comes home and Maurice apologizing to him. And, you know, at first he was upset. Maurice, I don't want to hear that. But he said, no, I apologize. And, you know, I was upset. And he was like, you don't think I'm upset? Half my stuff was stolen too. Maurice like, they should have took them blouses that's in that closet. Yeah, all the paisleys and flowers do not become a man. He probably won't say a straight man. But that's too much. But you know, Calvin loves his blouses, so leave him alone, Maurice. But you know, Q was not gonna steal that. So, you know, it's just that. And another thing is Calvin doesn't know that other side of Maurice, that real violent side. And we've seen that in previous seasons. And that's something that he doesn't want to come out. He said, you know, it's one thing that, you know, I don't mess with anyone. So, but, you know, you come for me or mine, I'm going to handle you. And that's when that side of him comes from. And, you know, probably being a gay man growing up young, being different, he probably had to fight a lot of battles. But he's not a small man, you know. Don't let anyone, just because they are gay, that they still a man. And, you know, you step to me wrong, I'm going to show you just that. So he's like, I'm not like you, Calvin. I'm not going to have that man take everything I got. I have a spare key. I have a tracking device on my car, and I'm going to get my car. But Calvin's afraid with him because he's like, you got to go to court. You know, the African put up, you know, a lot of money, over $1 million. You will revoke your bail. This man will lose his money. So think before you go crazy, because Q is not worth it. He said, but this man had me and Sabrina in jail. How could I have nothing? And I get it. You know, it's like you stuck between a rock and a hard place. How do I not fight and stand up for myself and still try to remain humble, not to make the situation even worse? Because he's like, you gotta go to trial. And he's like, trial? Because I'm like, Maurice, yeah, this is not over because you out. And he was like, well, if we get Q to admit to this, you know, I won't be going to trial. You know, I won't be going back to jail because this man will go to jail for what he did. But he was like, I beat this man down with a golf club, and he confessed to nothing. He admitted to nothing. I don't think it's going to work. I don't know what the plan is going to be, how they're going to have to strategize to get something on Q to confess on tape. But, I mean, you can't hurt him or do anything wrong that's going to put more charges on you, because right now Q is, you know, he made a deal, so he's sitting at a better position right now than you. So they really gonna have to strategize on how they're gonna have to do that, and I would love to know how, because I'm really sick of him being out here. Now we have Gary and Hayden. Now they all waiting, And they like, okay, it's after 5. Like, where is he? Now, of course, Hayden's all happy. Like, oh, I can just push this button on this email. Old boy be done. We have this company, and he's out of here. But Gary, in the back of his mind, is like, I don't think he would let this go that easily. And I really don't either. I'm dying to know what happened to Robin. What does he have planned? But let us not forget, even though he said 5 o'clock, what is that, 24 hours or less than 24 hours? That really means nothing when, based on the contract, remember the last conversation he had, you got to do this in a reasonable amount of time. So maybe he realized this isn't, 24 hours is not a reasonable amount of time. I'm going to tell them 5 o'clock so they can go and do whatever and then look like fools, because I'm going to slip back in there and they're going to find out that, no, you don't have the company. Robin, can take a few more days or what have you. But 24 hours is not reasonable to come up with $3 million. So I think that's going to be the backlash and the time. I do not think Robin's going to roll over. I think he's too tactical and strategic to just sit back and hand this over to Gary and Hayden. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Put in the comments what you think is going on. Now, then of course he runs into Andi in the hallway, and she's like, hi. He's like, hi, can I come over later? And she says, I'll let you know, whatever. You're not going to get me that quick. I'm like, stand your ground, Dani. Don't be rolling over for him. I'll let you know. So he was like, okay. He went on about his business, and Fatima came in cringing because she can't stand him. But she's on her way out. She tells Dani, I'm going to let you know, remind me to tell you what I did to Zach. And she was like, is he conscious or whatever? Like, you didn't do anything to him. She was like, he's fine. Everything's fine. But, that was funny. So I'm sure Andi will get a little kiki chuckle out of a little prank that she did on our boy Zach. Now, what happened next was Zach comes by the shop to get these papers signed and, of course, apologize to Karen. Now, Pam already there like, hey, she did start some stuff. So he's like, hey, Pam, like you always start. And so she was like, yeah, go in there, don't start no mess. Because, Aaron was there with a woman today. She ready to tell him the scoop. He like, I don't want to hear none of that. I'm not here for that. She was like, okay. And then she said, don't you be going in there doing nothing, and don't be in there, effing. Because she was like, Pam. She was like, he told her, don't think I don't know what you've been in there doing. She was like, what? And she laughed. She was like, you keep your mouth shut. Like, don't be telling my business. Don't be telling my business. So he, the banter between them two is like hilarious. It's too cute. So she goes in there, and of course, this is the perfect example of misery loves company. Now, all the hugging, the kissing, I wish you the best. You're going to be a new daddy, all this. This is a good contract. She agreed with, her Andi, and she going to sign off. Now, the man is apologizing. Oh, if you was really sorry, you wouldn't even be here. We wouldn't even be in this situation. I'm like, why you getting ugly now, Karen? See, I was trying to get all right with you a little bit. Past couple weeks, I've been, okay, your attitude, been pretty decent. I understand you being pissed off with how the way he acted. I'm serious. I get it. He was ugly. That was totally wrong what he did to you and Aaron. But he's trying. Just hear him out. And what's any different that you can't sign these papers? If it was fine before, why you can't now? Because you done found some dirt on your man. Now he's not the guy you thought he was. Things are not looking so smooth. Here you got Zach all, nice and caring, and everything's going good in his relationship. So I'm going to make it a little bit harder on you. That's the ugly stuff that I don't like from some women in these situations. Now you want to get ugly because your stuff went left. And now this man is too happy. He can't stay that happy. I got to do something to make him not so happy. Stop it. It's unnecessary. I understand this is stressing you and Aaron, but one doesn't have to do with another. Sign the man papers. You already said it was generous. Sign it and be done. I mean, him saying sorry or not sorry, what does it have to do with the agreement regarding your child? So, yeah. So Karen wanted to look ugly with that situation. And so he left. He was like, okay, fine, whatever. She said, I'll sign it when I get ready if I decide to, or some mess. And he was like, okay, whatever. He not going to argue with her. He left. So Pam came in to check on her. You know, is he all right? Did he upset you? She was like, no, I'm fine. She really didn't want to talk about the situation with Aaron. And then she realized the time because they supposed to be meeting to go over by Dani. So she went to deal with that situation. Now, they are coming over by Daniella. Sabrina, Karen, and Andi go visit Daniella. And she was like, oh, the whole name. This must be serious. And it was a very intense scene. And we got to see, there's always a root cause of why a person has the actions that they have when they're going through a lot of self-harm, doing things that's unreasonable to themselves, basically abusing themselves, not caring if a man spit on your face or fight you, or about to assaulted you, or could have sexually assaulted you. None of that matters if you don't have a love for yourself, or you feel worthy or better of being treated like that. To turn around and meet another man on a bracelet at an airport that has a shady past, that's somebody that doesn't care, just literally doesn't care. So after the girls, trying to talk to her with the intervention, we find out that, back in college, Dani struggled with a weight issue, and that issue made her not basically love herself. And she confided, and Karen said, I'm telling you straight up, you had issues with your weight, and you let this be known to some people who took advantage of that situation, probably tried to make her feel good and beautiful just to get together with some other men and sexually assault her. And then probably talked about her and defamed her name all throughout the campus. And it was just an ugly situation. To now, in her mindset is, she still see that overweight sister back in college. She doesn't feel worthy. She feels ridiculed, and she's gonna hurt a man before he hurts her. She's gonna attack that sexually, like they attacked and violated her sexually, and cause that level of pain. And a lot of times that happens where women will back up altogether and not want, or turned off. She could have been totally turned off of men and went the other way. She could have just totally left the situation alone. It could have really been that way. Or it can make you, some women, promiscuous and then not value their bodies and go overboard thinking that it's just sex, and in the back of their mind, this is what they did to me, it's no big deal, to mask the pain. And that was trauma that she never healed from, trauma she never got therapy for, trauma that she's still living with, and it's becoming a bad cycle. And then she gets in this sarcastic mode, like Sabrina said, we can't talk to her when she's like this. So that whole hurt was like, you could see it holding back the tears. They took her back to that dark place. And this is the reason why, Dani is doing what she's doing. So what do hurt people do? Hurt people hurt people. And Dani went in on every last one of them. And it was like, she talked about something with Andi that I never talked about. Somebody that pulled the gun on them and went held her at gunpoint and some crazy madness. Then the situation with Gary and his wife and all this mess. Well, the gun thing was with Gary's ex too. I think was that what she was referring to? I thought it was something else beside that she had talked about with the issue with Gary and Cos. It was a little confusing because she started off with Gary and the wife, and I thought she went into something else. But I think now that I'm thinking about it, I think that standoff, she was talking about the whole situation with Gary and his wife, because they was at gunpoint in her bedroom, come to think about it. So, yeah, and that was traumatic. And, this man had physically assaulted her, tried to strangle her to death, tried to take her out in the woods in some house somewhere to move away from all her friends out there, deserted with a house, to keep her away from people as a means of control, then buy her a car and a house and watch her as another means of control, and all of this psychotic stuff going on with this man. You still want to be with him. So she had a right to dig into Andi with that, because it's right. But the thing is, they still your friends and love you regardless of all their flaws. And they, and We still gonna be here. You can say what you want. And she hit below the belt, and they felt it. And she was right. You are gonna tell me anything when all of you got some crazy mess, but I'm supposed to bow at your feet and listen to your advice when y'all have been stuck on stupid. And she do got a point, because then she went into Sabrina about panty boy. She always talk about Calvin like that, and that whole situation. But I mean, Sabrina wasn't letting that phase her with Calvin. And then she dug into Karen. Like, yeah, okay, here you go with a man whose wife blew her brains out in your shop. And now this, come to find out, this woman is the pastor that you going with. And now, to top it all off, this man may be the father of your child, or it may be your ex. You don't know. Karen wasn't liking that. She left. So, yeah, they both have some crazy lives. They've all done crazy things. But, and I'm not saying how the situation like with Andi, I think, can be just as dangerous, and she has been in dangerous situations with how Gary has treated her, and she's stuck by that. But this whole thing with Dani is on a whole other level of continuously being with different men over and over again sexually, and it can hurt you. And I thought that would have been enough from the last guy for her not to even be interested in Q. But it won't stop. She's constantly hurting herself, and this is why she feels she does not deserve a good man like Preston, because Sabrina was like, he damn near perfect. And she was like, okay, go ahead and talk about perfect. And no one's perfect. But he's a good man who's trying to love her, but she can't see herself with someone like that, because she's had painful, disrespectful a-holes in the past that she's been in a relationship with, or that have attacked her or abused her, assaulted her. And this is all she goes after, that type. And it's a bad cycle that has to stop. So many of us have, as women, have been in situations like this, and the cycle has to stop. Don't do that. But a lot of times, she's blessed to have good friends that through thick and thin, because the average, I'd say probably maybe 70 to 80% of the time, we tend to, once somebody starts hitting on us personally and attacking us, even if we're trying to help them, and they come back with a blow, our natural reflex is to fight back. And other friends probably would have not talked to her, probably would have walked out, would have cussed her out and been like, B, I'm trying to help you, and you coming at me? F you. Deal with your crap then. And walk out on it, and you won't hear from them for months, or maybe never again, or a few weeks later after they cool down. But to take all of that pain that she spewed back on them and said, that's okay, Dani, we still love you and we're not going nowhere, to the point where she had to leave because they wasn't going, and she left and said, y'all better not be here when I get back. She is hurting. I'm just hoping Dani doesn't do anything else. And Preston got the nerve to call her. Probably because now he has this epiphany, like, why am I bothering with this woman? Maybe he finally woke up and is like, I'm not dealing with her. She in the airport now with another man. How many times I'm going to be smacked in the face, disrespected for a woman I'm just trying to love? I get it. But this is a hurt woman, a broken woman that you're trying to love. And you don't understand that. I mean, it's a lot you have to deal with, Preston, on dealing with a black woman, but then a black woman who's went through a level of abuse, or any woman that's been through abuse. You got to handle with kid gloves. You got to handle a little bit more delicate. But this, that's what I'm saying is, you can't marry her. You have to get to know her, to know how to handle her. And then, maybe hear from her friends and stop rushing a relationship she's not prepared for. So if you want to get this girl, Mindy or whatever, and go back with her, because he called just to get his clothes, and she's going to put it in a box and leave it outside. Come get your stuff then. I'm dealing with too much. So if that's what Preston want to do, then bye. But Dani has a lot that she has to handle, and you can't push the pressure on her for marriage or relationship without getting to know what you're dealing with. Dani needs to deal with herself for a while, by herself, with no one, and heal before she can start into a relationship, because it's going to be a dead end. She's going to sabotage that. If you don't take time to be alone, and this is for any woman that's out here listening, and I don't know, maybe you can share this with someone as advice. I don't care if I just get through to one person. take that time to be alone. Some people from when they were young, at teenagers, may have had a boyfriend, may have extended relationships that broke up, and they jumped to someone else. You have to heal by yourself. Learn to get to know you, to love you, embrace you. Don't be afraid, because some people are afraid to get to know themselves. They may see ugly things about themselves that they don't like, but that's a good thing. You need to learn so you can know what you like, what you don't like. Enjoy yourself. Take yourself out to dinner. Take yourself to a spa. Go away for a weekend. Learn. Have you ever been to dinner by yourself? Have you ever went to a movie by yourself? And don't be afraid to seek therapy. Learn to be whole yourself, so you won't give yourself to someone broken. Some things are not going to happen overnight. It may be a lifelong process to get through something traumatic that you've been through in your life. But if you take your time and at least go through the process, you won't be trying to inflict pain on someone that didn't deserve it, and you'll give that person the benefit of the doubt and not be stung from the ghosts of the past. Okay, so hopefully Preston can get with Dani another time after she goes through some things. So Fatima comes home, and shortly thereafter, she like, get the door. She was like, what is this? Like mental telepathy? But I mean, like, how do you know the doorbell was gonna ring? And in walks Heather. And she's like, hello, excuse me, hello. And he spoke to her. And she was like, come on in, girl. And I like how, Fatima treated her. And then, just looking at her disposition, coming in with a little bit of humility, her little plot didn't work out with Hayden. So it was almost like a little puppy with the tail between the legs. You have to come and try to, see if you can handle this in an amicable way. And it made me just think about, a lot of girls out there like Heather. We've been in positions where, you may not have been, you're not so educated. You have, you don't have had family members that really had your back, that guided you or talked to you anything. You just had your friends from the streets that were all doing the same thing, dancing or whatever they was doing, plotting on guys for money and all that. And then you get in a situation where you wind up getting pregnant, and now you trying to scam or whatever to take care of you and your child, or just living and acting in a way that people may say is quote unquote ratchet or what have you. But, those are just the circumstances and the cards that you were dealt at that time. And if you have somebody to talk to you or try to guide you or be like a big sister or a mentor and really mother you to do better, you would do better. You know better, you do better. But many, like Heather, maybe have not. And, she was so excited when they came with the papers, and $2,000 what he was gonna give Karen. $3, I guess $5 was his limit a month for these two women. But I know he offered her $3,000 a month. And when Heather heard the two, she was so ecstatic. She wanted to give him a hug and jump on him until Fatima had to put up that divider. And she was like, oh, I'm sorry. But she said, get an attorney to look over those papers. And that should have made Heather think that they're trying to do right by me. And but she was happy, because how many women in her position, probably in her situation, that a man is willing to give her that much money to help her or her child? I mean, she could take care of her son, have her a place to stay. Not saying that's going to stop her from stripping or dancing or whatever she's doing, but maybe she at least to get her on a footing to not be probably in a situation where her back is against the wall and she has to maybe do things that she doesn't want to do. Or maybe she does have more aspirations, and this is just she was just grateful that she was given this. So I hope that works out. I don't know if this is gonna be a situation where Heather's constantly in their life. That may be all we get from the test results, and this may be very well for the next 18 years. Well, for life, his child, but taking care of this child for the next 18 to 22 years. If it goes to college, and Heather may forever be in their lives, right along with Karen. We are yet to see, but definitely, who knows? Heather keep hope alive, sis. You go out there and you do something with yourself. You do better. You get educated. You know, they trying to show her as ratchet last week, not knowing colleague from college. Um, you know, and it's sad, you know, to just have us depicted that way. But you know, you can grow and go do something. Tyler, go write her in going back to school or doing something with her life. You got this, Heather. So yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. Now Preston calls Dani about his clothes. I said that, and yeah, she was upset. Come get your stuff. He was like, I'm about tired of this attitude, but he doesn't know what she's been through. What she just dealt with the conversation with her friends. She doesn't tell him. She's just trying to go out there and clear her mind. I just hope she doesn't do anything else crazy. Doesn't go out in no more bars drinking. But she just will think for a minute and then come back home and talk to her friends. So it ends with our boy Maurice, and he is meeting Q because he knows where his car is, and he goes to the spot. Evidently Q stole his spare key, so he didn't have that. He's like, where's my car? Where's my shit? I want my stuff. He was like, I don't have your stuff. Well, because he probably done sold it, of course. So he don't have his stuff. But he has the car, and he's telling him he's not gonna get it. And he was like, "You gonna give me my shit?" And he was like, "What you gonna do? You snuck me before because I wasn't prepared for you, but I'm prepared for you now." I'm like, Maurice, like, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? You gonna give me my car? He was like, well, what you got? So, you know, Maurice, they was fighting, and Maurice got them blows in because like he did before when he kicked that guy's behind. And you know, Q tried to get his little stuff in, but he had a gun that he pulled on him, and Maurice like looked like, okay, you got a gun. But he stood his ground, and he still faced him, and he still tried to attack him with that gun. And you know, like a lot of movies, you see them tussling, then all of a sudden they get close to the stomach and pow. So I was waiting for it to go off and then have the screen fade to black. I was waiting for that to happen. But it didn't, but they were fighting with that gun, and I still think that that gun is gonna go off. I just hope to God it's not Maurice that gets shot. And even if it's Q, I mean, what is this gonna be? Some type of self-defense? That's gonna open up another box of mess. Okay, so that situation, either way, if they get hurt, I just hope somebody comes and stops them before anybody gets shot or whatever the situation may be, because that did not end well at all. So we're gonna be out here praying for our boy Maurice. And yeah, that was a pretty good finale. Can't wait for the next season 6, or I don't know if they're gonna call it like part 2 of the 5th season. I think sometimes they split the seasons in half. So it might be, yeah, the second half of probably the beginning of the summer, around June. We'll see the second half of the 5th season. So I'm super duper excited about that. And yeah, we're going to get into Fatima, and we're going to do a recap and review on that of the new season 2. So until next time, family, remember to stay authentically you. Live the life you deserve, because there's no one else like you. Peace until next time.